This podcast is sponsored by CSMI, the maker of the HUMAC Norm isokinetic system. Purchase a new or refurbished machine, or you can even upgrade an existing system to bring it up to date with all the latest testing and training applications. Please visit csmisolutions.com to view all of their available products, including the HUMAC Norm isokinetic system, the HUMAC Balance portable computerized balance system, and Sportswear Online. CSMI. Better data leads to better results.
The Everything PT podcast is sponsored by Vald Performance. Vald is the creator of the airbands for blood flow restriction therapy. If you are looking to stay up to date with today's post-surgical modalities and adding BFR to your clinic, please visit valdperformance.com. Hello, and welcome to the Everything PT podcast with Matt Taylor and Daniel Bodkin. Please do not consider anything you hear to be medical advice. Just a couple of guys ranting about everything PT. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Everything PT podcast. Matt, it's been a while. We've been on a hiatus.
I know life has happened. We've had some schedule with some awesome people, and we've had to go through some in vitro stuff and kind of at the mercy of the doctor's schedules, and they just kind of throw us around at their will. So thank you for your patience. Sorry to
all I was out of town,
Yeah, you were at Disney, right? Rightfully so.
Yeah.
So
it is. So it's part of it.
Sorry for our listeners in Australia out there. We see you. We don't know who you are, but thank you for listening out there.
Yeah, we got a little bit of an international following, so that's kind of cool.
I'm fascinated by that. I would love to know who these people are. So reach out to us if you can.
So Matt, we got a cool topic today, and that's athletic trainers in the clinic.
Yeah, I sent you this topic a few days ago, Dan, and I saw Physiogram had a post, and it said that the state of Michigan has now, and Blue Cross Blue Shield, has agreed to reimburse the payment of athletic trainers in the outpatient setting. So my mind started racing, and I was like, I got to get a hold of Daniel, and we got to chat about this. So.
You also said, sent me something that said, my home state of Georgia, the motherland for me, Indiana, they also, as well as Vermont and Wisconsin.
Yeah, they're all now reimbursing for services provided for athletic trainers
through Blue Cross.
This is Blue Cross Blue Shield we're talking about. I don't know of any other big fish, like Humana or Aetna or anyone like that. But this is just Blue Cross Blue Shield. No Medicare. Yeah. At this point, obviously what they say really carries a lot of clout. But.
So let's first start off. I'm going to just talk about a little bit my experience with athletic training. So, I went to school at the University of South Florida. I was shooting rockets in the Army, got out, and then I signed up for college, and I saw athletic trainer. What is that? And somebody's like, oh, it's a guy that, runs out on the field when you get injured. It's like, I can do that. Meathead, rocket shooting guy. Let's try that. So I got into it, and it was a 2-year track program. It's different now, but I was at the University of South Florida, and their program was unique because they were the first ones to be under the College of Medicine, and we were actually just reclassified in orthopedics. And traditionally, we are either in the College of Education that falls in with like strength and conditioning, or like was it exercise physiology. Or we'll be under like kinesiology, right? But athletic training got moved into medicine at USF, which gives a lot of cool things. We had standardized patients with like the medical school, the nursing school. We had the orthopedic surgeons. They would come in and teach a lot of our classes. They would have frozen legs, cadaver legs that they would dissect and, show us here's a Lockman test on an ACL. They'd cut it and like, this is a Lockman test on somebody who just tore their ACL. So, we learned, we were in the cadaver lab as, undergrads. So we had all these really cool resources that was kind of unique to us. So it was a track program. You'd be in class from 8 a.m. to roughly lunch. And then you'd have your internship. So you'd go and you'd either be with the university, athletics, or I did a lot of high schools. I did a PT program. There was professional teams all around Tampa you could go with. You could be with like physician extenders, right? So you could go, do a rotation in like an orthopedics office, right? So
That's awesome.
that was there was no time limit on when I went. Now it's a little different. They kind of try to limit them to 20 or so hours a week. I definitely clocked above 40 hours a week with that, and that was all unpaid for me.
Sure.
And then we even went in the summer. So when I graduated, I was a little bit older. I decided, I'm going to go right into physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we hit record, you said, oh, since you're an athletic trainer, you can talk about it. I am not an athletic trainer. I have an athletic training degree. If you saw me try to tape an ankle now, it'd be a little bit different. It wouldn't be good at all. That's for sure. So, then I went through physical therapy, and it was kind of, again, USF, they had physical therapy school in the College of Medicine. So I actually did a year of medical school while I was doing physical therapy. That's just the model they used, win, lose, or draw, however you think about that. Gave me a chance to meet my wife, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
So, again, had all these great, much more resources than most PT programs. We're not going to talk about what I didn't get because we spent time in medical school learning, molecular medicine. Again, that's neither here nor there. But when I was in those physical therapy classes, all the orthopedics, that was all old hat to me. Now, when it came time to, learn neuro rehab or cardiac, critical care, all those things, that was new to me. Mm-hmm. But when we were kind of going through it, me and, there's a handful of other athletic trainers, we were like, we learned this stuff, 2 years ago, as far as, the rehab, the evaluation. So, it was a really good lead in for me. But let's talk about what an athletic trainer does, right? Traditional athletic trainer. Yeah, they're doing injury evaluation, but it's a little bit different because lots of times you have to do the 8-minute eval. Somebody gets hurt on the field. You have to, assess what this is right there on the spot versus having an hour to evaluate them. But you also have that longer evaluation. Right. So really good on your assessment skills. A big part of it is rehab. That's a huge portion of your injuries is that you're the person that's rehabbing, and you're not just rehabbing a team. You have all your teams if you're at a high school. So rehab is a big part of it. But then you also have emergency response. What happens, when somebody goes down, concussion, cervical spine. What if somebody dislocates their kneecap on the field? Dislocates their finger, like I had to deal with at a flag football tournament. So you're really big on your emergency response. You're also setting up practices because especially in Florida, one of the biggest things that's going to get you is environmental heat stress. So you need to make sure, if you have 5 teams, soccer, football, cross country, if you have all these different things spread out, you can't be at all those places. So you have to make sure that they have hydration stations set up, cold pools, ice bags. So a big part of it is just setting everything up. You're taping all the ankles before everybody goes out. You're doing the rehabs, you're wrapping wrists. So you wear a lot of hats. And that's just traditional athletic trainers. Another big part of them is physician extenders. So when you go to your orthopedist, before the doctor comes in, lots of times you'll see the athletic trainer. Whereas it used to be a nurse. The athletic trainer is going to come in and they're going to do your subjective. They might even do some of their objective tests and measures. Every place is different. But then they report to the doc and the doc comes in. So that's a big role for athletic trainers now is as a physician extender. Another big one is industrial. So I have a buddy, he's at Amazon. He used to work for NASA, but he does rehab at Amazon. So there's a big industrial, they call him the industrial athlete. So there's a lot of roles that athletic trainers play. Mm-hmm. When I was in Nashville, there were like 70 clinics in our company, and there was a lot of athletic trainers that would be at the high schools. But during the day, they would be in with the physicians, or they would work in the PT clinics. So it's a very integral part of rehab. And traditionally, PTs and athletic trainers bump heads. They didn't. PTs didn't like athletic trainers, coming in on their territory, and athletic trainers, it's kind of like PTs and chiropractors. But I think that bond is mending.
I think it should be.
Yeah, man, there's so much that you can work together and accomplish so much more than that.
Well, the older I get, the more I realize that it's the rehab continuum, right? And these athletes, who the athletic trainers are working with, they're typically poor broke college kids, right? Who can't afford, the financial obligations of an outpatient PT. So it's good for them to be with the athletic trainer. And I think it's great that athletic trainers act kind of as independent practitioners too, in the college setting too. But I think
they still work under the physician's license.
Right.
So they are they're not completely autonomous. They are underneath that physician, whether it's the college team or the pro team where they have a team doc, or if you're at a high school and they have an official team doc for the football team, or just even the individual athlete's doctor. Right. The athletic trainer has to work under that.
Yeah, certainly. And you mentioned a lot of things that I had comments, but the one I really wanted to talk to you about, I think athletic trainers are most prepared for physical therapy school. Too. I think that thinking back through my schooling, the classmates that were already ATCs, they were leaps and bounds ahead of where we were, because it was basically a review, anatomy and phys, cadaver. I didn't even have cadaver in undergrad or grad school. So, and these people already had. You mentioned the Lockman with the ACL on a cadaver. That's awesome. It's a valuable experience. Just that alone.
It's not even just what you learn. It's the fact that you're on a track program, 8 to 12, and then you're going to your rotations.
Right.
Kind of sounds a lot like PT, right?
Yeah.
You're learning these valuable time management skills. A lot of PTs going into school, or physical therapy students, they're not good at talking with patients. They have that hard time when they're in front of that patient, they lock up. Whereas you've been dealing with athletes for 2, now even 3 years before you even get there, or just learning how to balance all these different things. I think that was a big help. But now athletic training, it's not even a 2-year program anymore. Now it's entry-level masters, which I must say, University of South Florida, Go Bulls, they were one of the first schools to drive entry-level masters.
Yeah.
So now it's a 3-year program.
Okay. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Do I even think entry-level DPT is a good thing?
I know. It's very relevant. It's very relevant.
We need to have another conversation one day about how I think the education system needs to change, but especially PT.
Yeah.
Look, I knew I was doing sports medicine or orthopedics. I should learn a little bit of everything, but I really kind of wish that it was a track program nationwide. And that's another conversation for another day.
I got a friend of mine who is the director at a local physical therapy school. It's going to come on, and I'd love to ask him some of those questions. I think it'd be good to shed some light on, but I think there's a little bit of overeducation, over justification for what we do. I think the cost is a lot to it. And I think insurance companies are really smart and run by some smart people, and they are recognizing that. And I think they kind of see the athletic trainers have a slightly less educational requirements, but they do something very similar. Yeah. For physical therapy too. And so I think there is a little bit of trying to take advantage of that on a financial standpoint too.
I agree. So let's say how do athletic trainers fit into the clinic? Right. Because right now when they're being used, they're used as unskilled techs.
Just interesting.
Yeah. So, they can clean tables. They can observe exercise, but not instruct. They can help document. They can't actually do any of those things and, be billed for it. Right.
Right.
What about, a PTA? Let's compare and contrast. PTAs can bill. They're not autonomous.
Right.
They work under the PT. But they can actually, I can say, hey, David, you're going to work with so-and-so today. These are your patients. This is what we're doing. These are our goals. They know them. They kind of knock it out. So why shouldn't an athletic trainer be able to do that same thing within their scope? They shouldn't be working with my spinal cord injured patient unless they've been, trained in that. They shouldn't be working with, neuro, all those things. But within general orthopedics, especially sports medicine, they are, probably some of the best people you could have in that clinic.
Now, I want to start my comment saying I agree with you, but I think the PTA hate mail we're going to get is PT. Yeah. They're going to say, we are more well versed in things like vestibular. You mentioned stroke, things like that.
Totally
rather
agree.
than specifically sports medicine. That's probably the argument to be had there. Now, I will say that you cover a lot of bases when you go through really, really good orthopedic care, sports medicine care, and if you got a sports clinic, that would make a lot of sense. They would act similarly to a PTA. It would make sense. They would be able to document and bill. But, and now
being reimbursed.
Could.
That's the thing, is being reimbursed.
Yeah.
So
have you had in your preparation for today, did you find out any reimbursement fees or anything? Because I haven't seen any of that.
That holds the assumption that I prepare.
Don't let our viewers know.
I don't know if what the fee schedule is for them. I don't.
Okay. I don't. I'll be interested to know. I'm going to try to reach out to someone in one of these states. Maybe our buddy George Davies might know something about that in Georgia. Being involved in some athletic training still and sports PT. Yeah. Anyway.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that athletic trainers are better than PTAs and like starting a war or anything, but just as good as, if I have, person A and person B, and they're both equally, able to work with their patients. Why do, because right now there is, PTAs up here and athletic trainers are down here. Why can't we make them even? So
I agree. And those are some hard questions for our profession, but I think they have to be asked though. Right. I think our leaders need to know this. I passed this up the APTA line, and no one was in our state of West Virginia. No one's even aware of this too. So it just goes to insurance companies really being able to do whatever they want with no repercussions from anyone because they can do it. That's it for them.
Absolutely. And like I always say, I've been out of the clinic, and you always talk about like fee schedule reductions. And did it ever happen to where like PTAs got, they make less than a PT for the same code?
That ever happened? Last year that started, I think, a 15% cut. This is an outpatient, and that has been even worse for places like home healthcare and skilled nursing, I believe, too. But I should know a little bit more. We don't have a PTA currently, so I know of it, but I don't know the exact specifics of it, too. And across the board, PT was cut like 3% by Medicare. And we're seeing that trend continue with other insurance companies too. So, and this just, adds fuel to the fire now. Looking like athletic trainers can do something very, very similar to physical therapists too. So, it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to be used. With reimbursement. Are they going to be reimbursed at that same level as a PTA? Will they be reimbursed less?
You might make the argument they could be reimbursed more than a PTA, but less than a PT. But who knows?
I don't see that. I would say, if anything, probably right at the same level as a PTA. Because either way, the athletic trainer would be assisting the PT.
I agree, but that they just kind of make up stuff with no real reason or rationale a lot of times too. So who knows what they're going to do. I did find some CPT codes for the athletic trainers to bill under, evaluation codes and reevaluation codes.
Okay.
Too. So, I mean, it's there. I don't know if anyone's doing it. I assume people are doing it, but in Charleston, West Virginia, like you said, they are acting as PT techs, and the athletic trainers will go and they go to a specific high school and they do all their athletic training. And they almost have there is a contract that's signed that doesn't guarantee them patients, but it encourages certainly, business to come to that specific private facility.
Yeah, one of the things they ran into, at least at the clinic where I was, is that, the athletic trainer, he wasn't in my clinic, but he was a neighbor clinic. He'd go to the high school, and the team physician, he owned his own orthopedic physical therapy. He had an in-house PT. So when the athlete got hurt, our athletic trainer was the one triaging, doing the rehab, but then the doc would try to funnel that patient to his physical therapy. It was a relationship that worked. At no time, was the doctor like, oh, you absolutely must go to mine, you cannot go to theirs. There was never anything like that. I think that just comes down to basic, decent human like relationships.
Yeah.
But it certainly could, things like that could certainly sour a relationship.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree. Daniel, any kind of look 10 years from now, how things are going to go with, people doing their own niche of physical therapy, athletic trainers, or, the trend is they're going to be able to do something similar to what physical therapists do?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I have no idea. I'm rolling with it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride.
I think we're going to see more people go out on their own, similar to what you do. Like, you're really good at what you do. ACLs, after rehab, after their insurance is exhausted, go see Daniel for personal training or ACL recovery too, physical therapy. That's awesome. I think we're going to see more of that because I think it's good for our field, but I think on a cash-based level, and because insurance is just so complicated and so challenging nowadays too. Yeah,
it's only going to get better.
I hope so.
I'm sure one day we'll actually get a pay raise.
Yeah, maybe.
Go back through our catalog. We had somebody who was, one of the lobbyists for the APTA. So you can go back and, hear
That's
about
true.
how
Justin Elliott, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on it, I guess. So I hope so.
I'm not going to hold my breath, but it could happen.
No, it could. Not in the next 5 years, but maybe.
Matt, you got anything else?
No, I think we hit on all of the things. I think we should revisit this one with maybe an expert from one of these states, maybe who is billing. If you're out there listening, please contact us. We're interested.
Yeah, because we're just kind of talking our way through it without any facts. So if somebody actually knows something about it, that'd be great.
Yeah, love to hear about it. Cool.
All right. I'll see everybody next week.
All right. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Looking for a way to improve sport-specific training with your athletes? Then you have to check out BlazePods. BlazePods is a neurocognitive reaction training intervention that can be incorporated into your sessions for patients throughout the treatment spectrum. Visit blazepod.com. Enter code EverythingPT at checkout and save 15% off your order today. Hey, all you rehab specialists out there. Do you have an isokinetic dynamometer just sitting around your clinic not being used? Little known fact, isokinetic machines that aren't used regularly are at higher risk for bouts of sadness. Help your machine out and take CSMI's newest CEU course, Isokinetics 101 online, created by me, Daniel Bodkin, and learn how to use all the exercise and testing applications available on your machine. With new and exciting rehab techniques in your toolbox, your sad isokinetic machine can become an active member of the rehab team again and regain its happiness. Isokinetics 101 online by CSMI has been approved for 8 credit hours for athletic trainers, physical therapists, and physical therapy assistants. Contact your state board for details on specific requirements. This course is available at humacnorm.com/courses/isokinetics-101.